Hey, so are you PCSing? Are you moving to JBLM? Are you already here at JBLM and looking to maybe live off post and buy your own house? Well, stay tuned because this is the video for you. I'm gonna go over all your housing options, what are the pros and cons to maybe living on to off post if you haven't been here before, and just everything in between. So stay tuned. We're gonna go over everything that I can tell you about JBLM Washington. Hey, so I'm Baggio Saldivar. I'm a local real estate agent here around the JBLM area. I'm a veteran myself, and I was actually stationed here at JBLM 2 and transitioned out into real estate. So I was actually on installation, working at JBLM for I'd say about 4 years. I bounced through 3 to 4 different units. And was able to do the interpost transfers and to continue to stay. And then eventually I got to the point where my wife and I had to make the decision, do I want to keep continuing that career or do I want to try something else? And decided, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and venture off and go ahead and give real estate a try. But what this has allowed me to do, and I feel like I am a great option and asset for people that are coming here or have questions about anything on or off base, is all that experience that I've had about living here, working through different units on base too, and then seeing just like the both sides of housing, of like what the housing options or lack thereof on base, as opposed to what you can happen or what can you make happen off base. So I'm not originally from here, right? The military, the army, like a lot of us, brought me here. I will say my wife's side is from here. She grew up in like the Spanaway area, which is, you'll see on base, or on a map, sorry, more of the east side, northeast side of JBLM. I'm originally from California, LA area, Southern California guy. And then I actually went to West Point Military Academy in New York. And then after that, commissioning, I was a logistics officer going to Fort Lee. From Virginia, I came over here. And so I was new to the area too. And I obviously had no rhyme or reason, no way around anything. And was just spitballing everywhere and just trying to figure out, hey, what do I like, what I don't like? What's the culture around here? And what does it just look like just living here around JBLM? So I'll tell you, what I learned quickly was that the housing and real estate around here is prime real estate, really honestly in most areas that you can find around base. I like to say that geography plays a huge part just in Western Washington in general, but especially around JBLM, to the lack of housing and just how much you can get back for your investment when you're buying a house. JBLM takes a huge chunk of land right in the smack dab of this area between Tacoma and Olympia, right? You also have the mountains to the east and the water to the west. So everybody wants to live in one small area of this land, right? They want to live in a spot where you can go north-south easily from Seattle to Olympia. They want to live in a spot where you're within 25 minutes of base, right? And people who live in Tacoma, they want to live close enough to be able to commute. They want to live close enough to be able to go to the mountains but not live over there. So guess what? Your house is going to go up in value 99% of the time. And that being said, yes, it is very competitive around here. Recently with the market, kind of taking a step back, we saw a little shift back to some buyer, advantages. But at the same time, what I've noticed, especially with people PCSing here who haven't been up here or who haven't grown up in a highly condensed area, is they're kind of shocked by the cost of living when they get up here and just the price of a house. Like if you've only been stationed at, Bragg, Campbell, Rucker, even Fort Hood, and you just haven't really seen, dang, the cost of living and the cost of a home up here is just different, right? You just won't get a lot for what you think in your head if you're used to those bases and those areas of living. So BAH and stuff is, of course, always trying to catch up to what the rise of cost of living has gone, and I know that that's been an issue for folks that are coming here. But like I said previously in this video, is if you're looking at it as an investment, and if you're looking at it as a way to just get something back, as opposed to just the Army taking your money, if you're living on base, then that's the way to go. That's the way to think, because you are the cost of living is a lot more here, but at the same time, your rate of return is a lot more. So I will say, in my previous homes and current home, the equity built up in each of those homes rapidly outpaced people and friends that I know who have bought houses around other bases and other locations. Like, it is just incrementally more. And it is something you should definitely take into account, because if you can, make it work, and maybe your mortgage might be a little more than your BAH, but if you can make it work to where, hey, the next year your BAH actually matches, the year after that your BAH is finally more than that, but guess what? People's rents rose, your BAH isn't just taken by the Army or the Air Force or whoever you might be, whatever branch of service you might be getting stationed here for. And again, you go back, you go sell it, or you're trying to rent it out, you're having an asset that is just growing over time way faster. Hey, and I'm sure like you've already probably, if you're PCSing here, you already know. If you're here and on a wait list, you already know. The housing on JBLM, unfortunately, they're at a shortage as well. I've heard anywhere between like a 4 to like 8 month wait list from people that I know that still work on base or that are trying to get here. Unfortunately, it puts families in a bad spot. Like, again, really, I have to go rent a place I really don't want to rent. I have to go rent more, or I have to buy a house, right? Ultimately, like I said, I guess I'm biased, but I'm biased for good reason. I've bought multiple homes. I know people who have bought multiple homes. I know active duty soldiers and officers and everywhere enlisted, senior enlisted, junior enlisted, people who start their investment journey like here because they realize like, wow, I get a lot in return. I have a house too, where if I want to rent it out after, to get someone to rent a home here is so easy, because again, there's shortages of housing just in general, and people want to live in these specific locations. So more often than not, you're gonna find someone to rent out to if you want to keep your home rather than sell it. Hey, I know I talked a lot about just buying and selling and what we can do, but I will say too, just if you have other questions just about like transitioning around here, and just maybe like, hey, I'm actually going out into the workforce, or I'm thinking of making this home long term, I'm stationed here right now, I reach out, because obviously I went through it. I went through transitioning, looking at different job options, and ultimately I decided something that just made more sense for me. But I went through all that. I know how it is. I know how it is looking for a job up here. I know how it is trying to figure out where should I live, you know what I mean? I've lived in both Pierce County, which is north and more expensive, and currently I'm in Thurston County, which is a little cheaper, right? A little more bang for your buck down by Lacey, Olympia. So again, I appreciate all the support. I've been there, done that when it comes to being here active duty, to a veteran transitioning, right? So I'm always here to help, and just don't hesitate to reach out. So catch you guys later, and talk soon.